I'm your host, Olivia Johnson, and welcome back to this week's episode of Who's Who. This week, we're joined by Mark Teflet, a native to Dallas, Texas, who now serves as the Assistant Director of Greek Life. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, a little bit about myself, as you stated. I'm native of Dallas, Texas, born and raised in Dallas, Texas, but my people from Natchitoches, Louisiana, as you kind of tell from the last name. I've been here at Sam Houston State University for 2 years now, serve as the Director of Greek Life, and been happy with my job here so far.
Yes, do you like it so far?
I really do enjoy my job here. I really enjoy working with students, and I've worked in colleges and universities now for going on, God, almost date myself here, but almost 30 years now. Sam Houston is the fifth institution where I've actually worked. But I really have enjoyed, probably out of all the campuses I've worked at, this is one of the ones that's been most enjoyable.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
How do you like Huntsville so far?
Huntsville is an interesting place. I like Huntsville. I think it's kind of a quaint little town. I like the smallness of it, and it's not as big as, well, even where I live now. I live in College Station, but I like the quaintness of it, the little town,
Right.
kind of little town feeling. It's just not as much traffic as I'm used to, so that's good.
Very easy to get around.
Yes, it is.
So what made you become the Assistant Director of Greek Life?
Well, I was attracted to the position. Coming out of working at in the A&M system, and I've been in student affairs, like I said, for about 30 years now. But I saw the position right when COVID was about to break out, so never heard anything else about the position when I applied for it. So I assumed that because of COVID and everything, that they weren't going to hire for the position. So then out of the blue one day, I got a call from Dean Sherman, who's actually he's over Assistant Dean in Student Affairs, and asked me if I was still interested in the position. I was very much still interested because I wanted kind of a change for what I was doing at the time. I'd been working in housing and residence life, and also when I worked at PV right before coming here, I actually worked in the registrar's office. So I was kind of ready for a little bit of change, and this was working more directly with students in a capacity that I was a little bit more used to. So, and coming out of the registrar's position and coming back into this was something I really wanted to do.
Yeah, it sounds exciting seeing how you come along through your academic career, really.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. When I first came out of college, I was just trying to get my bachelor's, and I was going to be happy with that. And it's interesting how I got to the point of actually doing my doctorate work. The first college I actually worked at, matter of fact, when I first got out of college, I really thought I wanted to go into law enforcement. And matter of fact, I actually did go into law enforcement, found out I did not like law enforcement at all. Well, not at all, but there's a lot of aspects of it I didn't like. So I was looking through the want ads. It was back in the old days when newspapers actually had want ads, and saw a job for a recruiter at a college, the community college where I worked in Dallas, where I lived in Dallas rather. It said no experience necessary, just had to have a bachelor's. I said, well, I got that. So applied for the position and got it, and been in higher ed since that, for about 20 years, well, like I said, almost 30 years now. And just really just liked working with students, and found out that was really kind of my niche, working with students, and not so much,
being
like
behind the scenes, in a sense.
Being more behind the scenes than actually out there on the streets working with people and busting people. So I just really kind of fell in love with working with students and the college setting. So that's kind of what kind of led me into college.
That's great. We're glad that you're here at Sam Houston State.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
What are your responsibilities as assistant director?
Oh, well, great. That's basically what my jobs entail is basically I provide leadership to the Greek community that we have here. I don't know if you know it or not, but we have about 28 different Greek organizations that we have here, about 1,200 students actually involved in Greek life here at Sam Houston State University. Matter of fact, it may be a little bit more than that now this year because we haven't taken the numbers yet. But my job is basically provide leadership to the community. A lot of people think that we're here to just do discipline, and that's not hardly what we do, but we really try to develop programs and make leaders. And one of our main focuses in the Greek life department is that, we try to develop students for the future once they leave here. And also, if we're going to be the leaders on campus, then we think that we have to have a standard. So basically, in answer to your question, my job is to provide leadership to the students here. We develop programs to try to develop them to be better people, to try to be more responsible in not only what they're doing in the community, but in their lives in general. So basically, I kind of see myself in my position is really just, it extends from a little bit from the classroom. I see myself as an educator, just in a little bit different fashion.
Okay. So what do you think the purpose of Greek life to you is?
That's interesting. That's a great question. I think the purpose of Greek life, and a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions, so I guess I'll start there. A lot of people think it's just about the social aspect, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's not a social aspect to Greek life. It is. But I think the main focus of Greek life, from my experience and from what we're trying to portray and really have with our students that we have here, is basically it's kind of a union between people, kind of a bonding between people that you're going to have a lifetime relationship with. I pledged over 30 years ago, and I think I still keep in touch with all my line brothers, and I don't know if it really helped me or not, but my boss at this particular here at Sam Houston State University is also a frat brother. So
Okay.
I do know when he was getting ready to hire me, he did contact the brothers, the chapter where I was located in College Station, and asked them about me. So it definitely had an impact on me being in a fraternity. So I think fraternity and sorority life is really trying to create those lifetime bonds that are going to last you, throughout your life. People that are going to help you professionally, socially, and in anything that you need. Like I said, I'm godfather to a couple of my frat brothers' children. My particular boss, he actually goes on trips with his line brothers.
Oh,
He's
wow.
pledged over almost 15 years ago, but every year they go on a trip. My wife will let me get away with that, but they actually take a trip. They have that such a bond
Right.
that
The
they
community.
get together. Yeah, that community that they've actually developed between themselves, where they get together on a year-to-year basis and actually take a trip together. So
That's
I think that's
nice.
what the purpose of college life is, to get those friendships, get those bonded relationships that are going to last you throughout life, and not only last you throughout life, but help you so you can also be a help to somebody else as well.
Right. To help succeed.
Yes.
So what makes Greek life here at Sam interesting?
I think the thing that makes Greek life here at Sam a little bit interesting is that, our community is a little bit different probably from most campuses, in that, since we are a residential campus, and a lot of campuses now going more toward being commuter campuses, but I think we still have a good base here where we still have a majority of our students that are involved in Greek life that are actually here on campus. So what makes our community different is that, a little bit different, unique from a lot of others, is that we have a little bit better bonding because we are here. So we can connect with the community.
Right.
And I think with the small community that we do have here at Sam Houston, it gives our students an opportunity to be able to be effective and be change makers within the community where they work in. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is that our students can actually be change makers, because we have students that work, volunteer at the food bank, that volunteer at the shelters, that volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. So they're making an impact on their community. So it's just not such a big community where they get swallowed up in everything that's going on, but they're actually making an impact here. So I think that's the main difference, but that separates Sam from a lot of campuses, is that we are making a difference in the community where we live.
Most definitely. Being that Huntsville is such a small community, it's very easy to reach out and build that community with other people, especially with the shops, businesses around us. Like, I feel like it's very easy to reach out and help somebody, or join a club, or join a community in any way you can.
Yes, I agree.
So what are some things that you have learned about being assistant director?
Well, some of the things I've learned is that I've learned is with any university, it comes with its politics. That's something I've definitely learned. I think one of the things I'm learning and adjusting to here, as I have with other universities, but here I think with the Greek community, because we have, those lifetime bonds even with their alumni, is that, sometimes when we want to institute something, or we want something that we need in place for accountability, students aren't going to want to go for it, but they're going to complain to their alumni, and then the alumni are going to say, well, we're going to pull money out and things like that. But the thing that I'm learning is that if you're going to be accountable, as and stick true to our mission of our university. And our university's mission is that, a measure of a life is its service.
Right.
So if that's our true measure of who we are as a campus, then we have to stick to that no matter what anybody says.
Most definitely.
We've got to hold people accountable. If you're going to be a responsible leader, if you're going to be a person that goes out there and makes a difference, then you have to be held accountable. I'm held accountable by my bosses and everything I do in life, so they have to be held accountable as well. So I think that's the biggest thing, is really trying to get them to see that they do have a place in this community, but it comes with a price. Leadership always comes with a price.
Most definitely.
And they've got to be accountable. So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm having to deal with, to communicate that I'm just not here for discipline, but I'm here to be a resource for you and to hold you accountable.
That's good to hear, especially now that, being that some students are kind of getting away with certain things, especially with, kind of like what you said about not being held accountable. I feel like that's very important, especially in Greek life.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, what are the 4 pillars of Greek life?
Our 4 pillars are brotherhood, sisterhood, scholarship, service, and philanthropy. So we believe our pillars are what holds us together. I think the first one is one of the ones I think is the key, is scholarship. And the thing about scholarship is that, everyone here is to get that degree. I don't care Greek is a secondary thing. It really is. It should be. If you're here to get a degree, you're here to just pledge and to be a part of fraternity or sorority, then you're here for the wrong reasons. I truly believe that. And I tell my students all the time is that if I get on the phone and call your parents or whoever support you for being at college right now and ask them why you're here, I guarantee you every single one of them will tell me you're here to get a degree. And so that's one of the things that I really want to stress really hard is that scholarship. Then, of course, the brotherhood and sisterhood, then the service, because I think we're all about making sure that we're servicing the community that we live in, and also that we're giving back to the community. It's just not so much what you take out as what you give back. And one thing my mom always said is that you never forget where you came from. Always reach back and help somebody else. So that's the thing that we stress with our 4 pillars, to make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing, not only to be developed as leaders, not only to be able to give back in the community, but to truly be the scholars. And I'm not mean somebody that just makes a 4.0, but I'm talking about a scholar that gets their degree like they should and moves on and has an impact on the world.
Yeah, most definitely. What do you think was your most proudest moment during Greek life here?
Well, it has to be one. Well, there's several, but if I have to point to one, we recently, our Greek life program was just awarded last month the program of the year by the American College of Professional Educators. So that's a national award, and a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some of the Greeks have kind of been rebelling against some of the things that we do, but that's just kind of a justification and a kind of a stamp of approval that we are doing the right thing here.
Most definitely.
So to be awarded and recognized by our peers around the nation was a big achievement for us. So we were really excited about that. We went to St. Louis to pick that award up, like I said, just a couple of weeks ago. So, but we were really proud of that. So that's definitely, if I can just point to one particular thing, like I said, there's many, but that's one that is something recent that I say is one of my proudest moments.
Definitely sticks out. Most definitely.
Yes, it does.
Sorry. Are there any upcoming events in Greek life?
Well, we just completed our Greek week last week, but the thing that we do have coming up, now our Greek week was actually one of the big programs we put on for the year that would get all the Greeks to kind of communicate and kind of work together. We divide the different Greeks in different teams, so they mix with different teams. They're just not with their brothers and sisters in their particular organizations, but they're mixed with another sorority or fraternity as well, and forming a group to be able to compete during that whole week of events that we have. So that was very successful. But like I said, we just had that last week where we do have our Pantheon Awards that are coming up and later on next month. And our Pantheon Awards are where we award all the Greek organizations that are basically fulfilled all the requirements of our 5-star program. And that's the one we just received a reward from. And what the 5-star program is what we use to be able to recognize the organizations that are doing the philanthropy that they should be doing, that are taking leadership by being involved, just not in Greek life, but in other organizations, and also who are excelling in those organizations and excelling on campus and also excelling in the classroom. So we have awards from the most athletic to the highest GPA, the most members initiated, the most money raised for philanthropy, the most community service hours. So it's a plethora of awards that we will have. So we have that coming up, and we're always excited. It's kind of our Academy Award without Will Smith. Hopefully.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate this talk.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate you. Hopefully I can come back again sometime.
Most definitely. Okay. I'm your host, Olivia Johnson, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Who's Who.